Hello. Hi, Joe. Hi, Britt. Welcome. Fix my hair. I just finished eating a vegan Reuben sandwich. From one of my favorite restaurants in Bali. So, excuse me. So I'm plugging in. Hi, Jamie. Oh, shoot. Okay. The sound should be better now. Joe, are you familiar with restaurants in Ubud? It's this one. The best restaurant in Bali, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's been a busy morning. I'm here in Bali. If you don't know, hi Wendy, welcome. Super excited to be with you. I've got this. We will be diving back into this amazing, powerful, life-changing book called Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. Is there anybody here who doesn't know the book, isn't familiar, is new to me, new to the book, what we're doing here? Yeah, and we'll jump into that in a few minutes. And first, we'll just allow some time to gather. So, Jamie. Okay, so you were scared about taking action and putting yourself out there. The result was not what I would assume you wanted or hoped for. And also, you're choosing to not let it mean that that's going to be the story moving forward, that it's not going to work out, so don't even try. You are choosing a story that it could work out next time, and that you will continue to put yourself out there. That's really powerful, and thank you for sharing that. Because, this is, and if you don't know me, I'm a spiritual life coach and Reiki master teacher. And this is, what I work with myself, with my own coach, what I help others with is, creating different results in your life requires you to do different things that are outside of your comfort zone, that may be different or scary or uncomfortable. And it doesn't mean it's always gonna, just be this upward trajectory of a path. It might be like this, but if you don't ever move, there is no failure, but not even trying out of fear, that's the only failure, if you choose to see things that way, which I don't like to do, but I think y'all get what I mean. Because even in the taking the action, you've made progress. And that stretches you, that stretches your mind, that stretches who you think you are and who you believe yourself to be. So, big stuff that's made up of small actions. Speaking of, I am happy to announce that I have completed a web page on my website that explains my new money mindset program, which involves the elements of what I'm speaking about. If anybody can, relate to limiting beliefs around money, scarcity, lack, never feeling like they have enough money, being scared of money, not liking money, hating money, being afraid of it, having stress around it, judgments around it, wanting more, then this program is for you. And it will require that you do uncomfortable things. And you can take money out of the equation and just think about your life. Any results that you have in your life are any things that you experience, any jobs or whatever, relationships, situations. Anything you have in your life is a result of the actions that you've taken already and the mindset that was behind that. So I know all of you here have some things that you can say, hey, actually, well, I've done some things well. I'm here with a roof over my head and etc. And also for most all of us, there's always going to be things that we're wanting to live into and create. Or places where we feel like we want improvement or more success. So looking at where the results you have now, what effort and what did it take for you to get there, and where you want to go, what will be required of you to get where you want to go. Like even for me, I think about myself, and y'all that know me know my story. I was in a good, quote, good dead-end job. And I had a lack mindset that I cannot get any other job other than the one I have if I want this remote lifestyle. So I was gripping onto that job like it was, my breath. And I was not open to any possibility that I could ever have a way to create money or, some other job or scenario where I could have the lifestyle of living remotely around the world. So I just stayed tethered to this job that was not good for me out of fear. And also it took a jump out of my comfort zone to even take my job remotely. So I did that, but then after years I was not satisfied. And then I was presented with a choice to either move back to the US and go back into the office again and start working traditionally after 8 years remote, or not have a job anymore. And I chose to jump into life coaching, which I had just been introduced to. And I took that leap of faith, and I did not move back to the US, and I did not stay safe and stay small, and this was during COVID and etc. I took a leap into the unknown, and I trusted that. And now, I 100% live a life I don't need a vacation from. Sure, there's always more to go, and also me taking that action, stepping out of my comfort zone, trusting, have gotten me the results I have now. So everything in your life is a result of your thoughts, decisions, and actions, or non-action. Hi, Nancy. Glad to see you again. So all of that wanted to come through for at least one person here. Hi, Ginger. Hi, Friendly Paws. Ooh, awesome. Yeah, mine was during COVID. Yeah, so if you like what you see and hear and vibe with me and my energy and you don't already, don't forget to follow me on Insight Timer, Facebook, Instagram, check my website. You can check about my money mindset program. It's now up. There's a page on my website. Send me a message too if you'd like. You'll be seeing more about that offering. We're going to be using the book Overcoming Under Earning as our curriculum. So I know y'all have heard me talk about that. And I know some of you have the book and maybe you've even been through it. So yeah, if any of that's interesting, reach out. I also offer spiritual life coaching. So if there's things that you feel stuck around, that you want support on, that you're committed to taking action on and transformation, then go ahead to, send me a message. So thank you, Nancy. And actually, speaking of my journey, I have scheduled a live stream on my 11-year expat anniversary date, which is this Saturday, March 23rd, 2013. I got on a plane and left the U.S. And again, I mean, that's a whole journey of decisions and thoughts and actions and commitments. And so I'll share more about that in the live stream. I am going to change the time. So if you do follow me, you'll see I'm going to cancel it. I'm moving it to like early morning, which will be better for most of you that are in the West. So I think I'm going to do it maybe 7 or 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, a.m. in Bali. Yeah, I do have a story, Nancy. I do have a story. We all do. And, I mean, what makes my story compelling is that I've lived into my potential despite the obstacles, self-created and external. If y'all know me, you've heard I was an alcohol and drug addict. From a teenager, I was in a crazy rehab. I was arrested, blah, blah, blah. And I got clean and sober at 22 years old, 25 years ago. So that has been like the biggest accomplishment of my life, because I wouldn't be alive had I not done that. And so how many people die of addiction or have, a life of futility? And that's what I was having. And I am one of the few, because it's, the odds of recovering from addiction are not, the best. So I am an example of overcoming that, as well as, everything else that y'all have heard about in my life. So our life will either be like a tragic warning for others of like, oh, the potential that was lost, or oh, I don't want to make the mistakes that person made. And our life can also be like, wow, look what they went through, and wow, look where they're at now. If we think about people in the world that inspire us, it's always the, rags to riches stories, or the tragedy to overcoming. I love Oprah, her story. I mean, Maya Angelou, even people like Gandhi and Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela, even like gurus that I follow, like Ramana Maharshi, Amma. They all share traits of, taking massive action, creating massive change and results in their lives. Tony Robbins is a great example. Bob Proctor. Which is great. We have so many. And also, it doesn't mean you have to show up in the world like that, because also some people's life's purpose is to be the best damn street sweeper they can be. And that has nobility as well. So there's a lot wanting to flow right now, and I'm just letting her go, letting it rip. Hi, J.E. So yes, the my anniversary talk is March 23rd in Asia and in the East, and March 22nd. It's going to be 7 or 7:30 p.m. Eastern Friday night, but I'm going to reschedule it. So thank you, Nancy. Yeah, and thanks for all who joined in the double live stream with Alicia Bliss, fellow Insight Timer teacher and soul sister. That's been such a delight to just, have that unfold and have our journeys come together and go apart. And right now our journeys have diverged again, and she's on a journey. Hi, Mishi. Hi, Dana. Thank you. Hi, Marita. Nice to see you. I don't know who Valerie Solanas is. So, Conversations with God. Does anybody not know about this book? Going once, going twice. And if you are just joining for the first time with me or in this live stream, like series about the book, don't worry if you don't know anything and you missed other live streams. It doesn't matter. You're finding this at the perfect time, so just trust that. Ooh, awesome, Dana. Hi, Amy and Jane. Awesome. I love your, volunteering that you don't know, because that can be out of some people's comfort zone to admit not knowing. So I have the book here, and we're going to listen to the audio from my phone. If any of you want the audio link to what I'm going to play, just send me a private message and I can share that with you. If you want to purchase the book, you can. Or you can listen. I also have all my live streams on YouTube. So like 99% of them. If you like this, if you want to review, so what we do is I'm going to play a snippet of the audio, and while we're listening, I'm going to be channeling Reiki. So if you don't want to receive the Reiki, just have that intention. Just say that in your mind, or just have that thought, I don't want to receive it. If you do, then just be open to receive. So while you hear the audiobook going, I'm going to be, listening and also channeling the Reiki. And I'm just going to go intuitively with where I stop the, recording. Sometimes I'll rewind. This material is so deep. How many of y'all know what I mean when I say that? And I swear, I haven't read the book. Maybe I've read it through twice. I know I've read it through at least once. And also I've listened to this audio probably all the way through 7 times, and it's 8 hours. So this is material that needs to sink in. And it's yes, if you just hear it once, great. You're going to take what resonates and what you take in. And also, the more you hear it, the deeper it's going to go. And for me, this book isn't for everybody, and that's okay. I'm not here to be an evangelist for the book. I'm just here to say trust. There's something here for you. What is here for you? Some of it can be very confronting, the material, and challenging, and you might have opinions, you might notice anger reactions, or it might bring up some stuff. And so the invitation, if that occurs, is for you to just be interested and curious. Wow. To not just go to be oh, that pissed me off, or I don't believe that. Before you just go with that reaction, step back and just think, isn't that interesting? This really touched something here. Wonder what's behind that. Instead of just going with whatever the judgment is or the story. Take a look at your thinking. because you'll find something interesting. So yeah, in the audio, just so you know, there's 3 voices. It's awesome to listen to because it's like professional. One voice. So if you don't know the book, it's a conversation with God, between the author and God. The author wrote it all. And 2, to say the author, Neale Donald Walsch, when he wrote this, he was at the lowest point of his life. He was living in a mobile home. Like, he just, got fired again from a job. He had no money. I think he drank a lot, and, he'd already been married a few times and blah, blah, and he was at and he was 49, I think. So if any of you think like it's too late for you, like, that thought is not true. This person went through 49 years of life before he got so pissed off and despondent that he just started scribbling out this like angry letter to God, and then God answered, and then this amazing book came, and series of books, and it changed his life forever. Louise Hay, the founder of Hay House Publications, the writer of You Can Heal Your Life, she didn't start Hay House, and she didn't write that until she was 60-something. So somebody also needs to hear that message. If you think you're too old, it's too late for me, that is not true. So, in the audio, you're going to hear 3 voices. One is the author, Neale Donald Walsch. He reads as himself. And then there's 2 God voices, which I love so much. They have a male and a female God voice. And it'll just randomly switch. So sometimes you'll hear Ed Asner is the celebrity male God voice, and Ellen Bernstein is the celebrity female God voice. So like, this is like top tier for Americans, at least. I think most of you might know. Awesome, Nancy. Amazing. So, with that said, we'll go ahead and dive in. And like I said, I might play it for 30 seconds and stop, or I might play it for 30 minutes and stop. We might rewind, we might not. So listen, I invite you to, as I always say, respect yourself and respect the material and respect this space enough to give it your full attention and not be scrolling or distracted as appropriate. If you need to take care of something, if the only way you can join is if you're listening in the background at work or something, like, okay. And also, if you're just sitting relaxed in your home in a comfortable space, I challenge you and invite you to give yourself and everything here the respect of your full attention, because it's really an act of self-love when you do that, and really be like in a meditative space with this information. So we will begin. Oh, I need to pull it up first. I was eating, so usually I do that beforehand. If you are following, like in the audio and keeping track of it yourself for whatever reason, we're at around 2 hours and 15 minutes in.
Just to teach them.
Okay. And I made a note to rewind it because there must have been something like really deep. Okay, so I rewound it a couple minutes. So go ahead and settle. Put your devices down. You can hear, just listen to me, listen to the recording, and just be present and mindful with this information. And I will be channeling the Reiki and also being present to what's here.
First time, you overlay what you think you already know onto the encounter. If you did not do this, you might have a wholly different experience, one that might render your original teacher or source wrong. In most cases, you don't want to make your parents, your schools, your religions, your traditions, your holy scriptures wrong, So you deny your own experience in favor of what you have been told to think. Nowhere can this be more profoundly illustrated than in your treatment of human sexuality. Everyone knows that the sexual experience can be the single most loving, most exciting, most powerful, most exhilarating, most renewing, most energizing, most affirming, most intimate, most uniting, most recreative physical experience of which humans are capable. Having discovered this experientially, you have chosen to accept instead the prior judgments, opinions, and ideas about sex promulgated by others, all of whom have a vested interest in how you think. These opinions, judgments, and ideas have run directly contradictory to your own experience. Yet because you are loath to make your teachers wrong, you convince yourself it must be your experience that is wrong. The result is that you have betrayed your highest truth about this subject with devastating results. You have done the same thing with money. Every time in your life that you have had lots and lots of money, you felt great. You felt great receiving it, and you felt great spending it. There was nothing bad about it, nothing evil, nothing inherently wrong. Yet you have so deeply ingrained within you the teachings of others on this subject that you have rejected your experience in favor of truth. Having adopted this truth as your own, you have formed thoughts around it, thoughts which are creative. You have thus created a personal reality about money which pushes it away from you. For why would you seek to attract that which is not good? Amazingly, you have created the same contradiction around God. Everything your heart experiences about God tells you that God is good. Everything your teachers teach you about God tells you God is bad. Your heart tells you God is to be loved without fear. Your teachers tell you God is to be feared, for he is a vengeful God. You are to live in fear of God's wrath, they say. You are to tremble in his presence. Your whole life through, you are to fear the judgment of the Lord, for the Lord is just, you are told. And God knows you will be in trouble when you confront the terrible justice of the Lord. You are therefore to be obedient to God's commands, or else. Above all, you are not to ask such logical questions as, if God wanted strict obedience to his laws, why did he create the possibility of those laws being violated? Your teachers tell you, because God wanted you to have free choice. Yet what kind of choice is free when to choose one thing over the other brings condemnation? How is free will free when it is not your will but someone else's which must be done? Those who teach you this would make a hypocrite of God. You are told that God is forgiveness and compassion. Yet if you do not ask for this forgiveness in the right way, if you do not come to God properly, your plea will not be heard. Your cry will go unheeded. Even this would not be so bad if there were only one proper way. But there are as many proper ways being taught as there are teachers to teach them. Most of you, therefore, spend the bulk of your adult life searching for the right way to worship, to obey, and to serve God. The irony of all this is that I do not want your worship. I do not need your obedience. And it is not necessary for you to serve me. These behaviors are the behaviors historically demanded of their subjects by monarchs, usually egomaniacal, insecure, tyrannical monarchs at that. They're not godly demands in any sense, and it seems remarkable that the world hasn't by now concluded that the demands are counterfeit, having nothing to do with the needs or desires of deity. Deity has no needs. All that is exactly that. All that is. It therefore wants or lacks nothing by definition. If you choose to believe in a God who somehow needs something and has such hurt feelings if he doesn't get it that he punishes those from whom he expected to receive it, then you choose to believe in a God much smaller than I am. You truly are children of a lesser God. No, my children, please let me assure you again that I am without needs. I require nothing. This does not mean I am without desires. Desires and needs are not the same thing, although many of you have made them so in your present lifetime. Desire is the beginning of all creation. It is first thought. It is a grand feeling within the soul. It is God choosing what next to create.
I'm gonna pause. It was already going off on another amazing subject. Whew, take that in. How did that feel to receive that, especially that last part? How many of you could see your conditioning from childhood if you grew up, with the idea that there's a God that, is a judge and needs to be pleased and, that keeps score and need to ask forgiveness, conditionally loving. I mean, this hits at the very foundation and roots of, most of, a lot of major religions' fundamental beliefs, without which the whole structure would crumble. Especially Christianity, the belief that we humans are have sinned. We're not worthy of God, so there needed to be the messenger of Jesus that came as a living sacrifice because we are bad and wrong and need saved from sins and forgiven. And so this challenges that. Dana, so the woman reading as God there is Ellen Bernstein. Yeah, Catholic, some of you having that. And so, wow, how interesting to consider. God has no needs. God doesn't need or require anything from anyone. And yes, each religion, I would say more Christian, Judaism, and Islam, not Hindu and Buddhism, really, so much. But the big three believe theirs is the only way. Love that, Marita. Yeah, and then it started talking about, sex, sexuality, money, and that God doesn't have needs but has desires, and that the energy of desire is the energy of creation, which is God, and that's why sex feels so good when it's in the right context. Interesting, Amy. Oh, wow. Nancy, you moved to India and Indonesia. Did you live in Bali, or where did you go? And Ginger, yeah, I saw earlier you commented about not wanting to make others wrong. Yeah, and this book, I mean, please, challenge it. As I said earlier, I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I have made the choice within myself of my own free will that this is the real deal, and that this information is truth with a capital T, because it resonates so deeply. And it also shares other books and other teachers and teachings also say the same things this book does, everyone, in a different way. So for me, I believe it. I present it here for you to be an inquiry. Hi, Yvonne. So this is the book, Conversations with God. Oh, that's right, Nancy, the bicycle tours. I apologize. I forgot. that was you. You know, one of the best and highest mental postures we can take is the Buddhist idea of having a don't know mind. You know, as we grow up and the older we get, the more, you know, information we've taken on, the more experiences we had, and then the more, you know, I know my mind just thinks it knows everything all the time, and it just has everything figured out. And from that mind, nothing new or very little new information can come in. So when we have a posture of, I don't know, that leaves the mind open for all possibilities. And yeah, Ginger, feeling into what's true versus scary. I mean, truth may be confronting or may be scary. I would say if something comes up and there's fear and then you don't know, like, be with it or revisit it multiple times and discern that. Yvonne, I'm in Ubud right now. Ubud has been probably my biggest home in since I left the US 11 years ago. My most homey home. Yeah, so anyway, I talked about that earlier. So remember too, it talked about money and how good it feels when you have a lot of money, and yet all the conditioning, you know, then we think, oh, it's bad to like money, or it's bad to enjoy having a lot of money. It talked about that, and also similar things around sexuality. Hi, Summa Star. So, we will continue the book listening now. And as I said, it was starting to go off into another subject around thought and creation, and God not having needs, but God having desires. And that's an interesting idea, for God to have a desire, but not have a need. So, let's continue to listen.
And what is God's desire? I desire first to know and experience myself in all my glory, to know who I am. Before I invented you and all the worlds of the universe, it was impossible for me to do so. Second, I desire that you shall know and experience who you really are through the power I have given you to create and experience yourself in whatever way you choose. Third, I desire for the whole life process to be an experience of constant joy, continuous creation, never-ending expansion, and total fulfillment in each moment of now.
Whoa. Let that one sink in. It was listing God's desires. Number one, that it know and experience itself. Isn't that beautiful? And that we know and experience ourselves or God. I didn't quite get that one. And then that we have a life of total and complete joy and freedom in every moment and expansion. I was just on a coaching call this morning, and we were talking about that the soul wants to feel like it's progressing. And that's why, how many of you have felt stuck in your life? It feels so bad to feel stuck and purposeless and directionless because it's so out of alignment with, you know, our purpose and what our desire is and what God's desire is. So feeling stuck feels so painful for that reason. We just want to be making progress, even if it's small. We are here to evolve. We are here to create. We're here to remember. We're here to realize the self, which means realize that we are God. I can feel the Christian fundamentalists having a problem with that statement. Which, bless their hearts, we are all entitled to our own beliefs. So I'm going to rewind that little snippet to hear these desires again. And then the invitation for you, Yvonne said they feel stuck. I think you said that's you right now, the feeling stuck piece. So the invitation would be, and this is what I do with my clients in coaching, is what is the tiniest nano baby step that you can take towards whatever you want to create? One of my favorite coaches, Rich Litvin, gave this example of like, okay, somebody wants to get in shape. The baby step would be putting out their running shoes by the front door every day at 3 p.m. That's it. Not even putting them on and not going running. Just putting the shoes out. Or like if you want to start writing a book, every day at least sitting down, opening a new Word document and not even typing anything, or getting a blank sheet of paper, putting it out on the desk. Like that's a nano step. And guess what? When you do that, it, you know, eventually, pretty quickly, you're going to actually put on the shoes and walk out the door, or put a pen on the paper, or type words. So Amy feels slow moving. So this is good. So it's better than stuck, right? So how would you work with your mindset there? What would that look like? If I was coaching you in a session, I would say, you are not stuck. That is what you cling to and validate and focus on. I am moving. Your mind is judging, it's slow moving. So that's a judgment. I am moving, period. That's the fact. Yep. So, great. Just going to rewind it a bit. Hear those desires again. Awesome.
Before I invented you and all the worlds of the universe, it was impossible for me to do so. Second, I desired thought. Not the same thing, although many of you have made them so in your present lifetime. Desire is the beginning of all creation. It is first thought. It is a grand feeling within the soul. It is God choosing what next to create. And what is God's desire? I desire first to know and experience myself in all my glory, to know who I am. Before I invented you and all the worlds of the universe, it was impossible for me to do so. Second, I desire that you shall know and experience who you really are through the power I have given you to create and experience yourself in whatever way you choose. Third, I desire for the whole life process to be an experience of constant joy, continuous creation, never-ending expansion, and total fulfillment in each moment of now. I have established a perfect system whereby these desires may be realized. They are being realized now, in this very moment. The only difference between you and me is that I know this. In the moment of your total knowing, which moment could come upon you at any time, you too will feel as I do always, totally joyful, loving, accepting, blessing, and grateful. These are the 5 attitudes of God. And before we are through with this dialogue, I will show you how the application of these attitudes in your life now can and will bring you to godliness. All of this is a very long answer to a very short question. Yes, hold to your values, so long as you experience that they serve you. Yet look to see whether the values you serve with your thoughts, words, and actions bring to the space of your experience the highest and best idea you ever had about you. Examine your values one by one. Hold them up to the light of public scrutiny. If you can tell the world who you are and what you believe without breaking stride or hesitating, you are happy with yourself. There is no reason to continue much further in this dialogue with me, because you have created a self and a life for the self, which needs no improvement. You have reached perfection.
Well, my life is not perfect, nor is it close to being perfect. I am not perfect. I am, in fact, a bundle of imperfections. Sometimes I wish with all my heart, that I could correct these imperfections, that I could know what causes my behaviors, what sets up my downfalls, what keeps getting in my way. That's why I've come to you, I guess. I haven't been able to find the answers on my own.
I'm glad you came. I've always been here to help you. I'm here now.
You don't have to find the answers on your own. You never had to.
Yet it seems so presumptuous to simply sit down and dialogue with you this way, much less imagine that you, God, are responding. I mean, this is crazy.
I see. The authors of the Bible were all sane, but you were crazy.
The Bible writers were witnesses to the life of Christ and faithfully recorded what they heard and saw.
Correction. Most of the New Testament writers never met or saw Jesus in their lives. They lived many years after Jesus left the earth. They wouldn't have known Jesus of Nazareth if they walked into him on the street.
But
the Bible writers were great believers and great historians. They took the stories which had been passed down to them and to their friends by others, elders, from elder to elder, until finally a written record was made. And not everything of the Bible authors was included in the final document. Already churches had sprung up around the teachings of Jesus. And as it happens, whenever and wherever people gather in groups around a powerful idea, there were certain individuals within these churches or enclaves who determined what parts of the Jesus story were going to be told and how. This process of selecting and editing continued throughout the gathering, writing, and publishing of the Gospels and the Bible. Even several centuries after the original scriptures were committed to writing, a high council of the church determined yet one more time which doctrines and truths were to be included in the then official Bible, and which would be unhealthy or premature to reveal to the masses. And there have been other holy scriptures as well, each placed in writing in moments of inspiration by otherwise ordinary men, none of whom were any more crazy than you. But let's drive to the heart of your question. Why do you think it's crazy for you to be able to have a dialogue with God? Do you not believe in prayer?
yes, of course, but that's different. Prayer for me has always been one way. I ask, and God remains immutable.
God has never answered a prayer?
Oh, yes, of course, but never verbally, you see. Oh, I've had all kinds of things happen in my life that I was convinced was an answer, a very direct answer to prayer. But God has never spoken to me.
I see. So this God in which you believe, this God can do anything. It just cannot speak.
Of course God can speak, if God wants to. It just doesn't seem probable that God would speak to me, that God would want to speak to me.
This is the root of every problem you experience in your life, for you do not consider yourself worthy enough to be spoken to by God. Good heavens, how can you ever expect to hear my voice if you don't imagine yourself to be deserving enough to even be spoken to? I tell you this, I am performing a miracle right now, for not only am I speaking to you, but to every person who is listening to these words. To each of them am I now speaking. I know who every one of them is. I know now who will find their way to these words. And I know that, just as with all my other communications, some will be able to hear, and some will be able to only listen, but will hear nothing.
Okay, well, we'll stop there for today. We're almost, our time here is almost up with the live stream. So what are your takeaways from that deep passage where God was talking about, how the Bible came to be, what was included, not included, the writers of it, and then even the author of Conversations with God saying, God doesn't speak to him, he's not worthy. Yeah, lots of good information there. So Yvonne commented, they need a new purpose, an end of a partnership of 13 years that doesn't serve you. Yeah, I hear you. I have been there. So yeah. I have some questions formulating in my mind, and I'll leave them for the moment. So if you've liked this live stream and you don't already, give me a follow here on Insight Timer, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, follow, my website. If you feel the heart call to reach out about life coaching with me, we use all of this in the coaching, and whatever comes up, my intuition, my guidance, the energy, the knowledge, the wisdom, your innate knowledge and wisdom, your power. You are powerful. And it's about remembering that and stepping into it. Amy can relate to that feeling, not being worthy of attention. Well, and in the book, he just said, oh yeah, God speaks to people, but not to me. And yet, here this book came. When was this published? Like 30 years ago? '95. Yep, 29 years ago. How is that real that 1995 is 29 years ago? So if you want the audio of what you're hearing, send me a private message anywhere you can find me. Stay tuned for the reschedule of an earlier time of my 11-year expat anniversary party live, which I'm going to be sharing. What it took for me to do that. And I'm going to be sharing my messy humanness, which I always do my best to do as appropriate. Yeah, because it's a messy story. And also, it's a human story. And I am not the same person I was 11 years ago in so many ways. Hi, Swan. Happy solstice. Oh, wow. I don't keep up with that stuff usually. Yeah. Wow. Solstice time. Thanks for bringing that in. And you can also join me for Saturday Night Live, and also I scheduled a couple others, so please RSVP to those. Yeah. Is there anything else before we go? You know, it was talking about that energy of desire, that energy of first thought. How many of you have ever had a download? That's such a perfect example of God energy to me, of like having an inspired thought, having an intuitive idea out of nowhere. It's really powerful. I'm really excited. I didn't have a download, but anyway, there's been an unfolding where I'm really excited. I'm going to be going over to Sri Lanka to experience the Sinhala New Year in a couple weeks. I have to leave Indonesia anyway. So yeah, it's going to be super fun, and I'm so grateful that I can choose and do. And I remember the days for 13 years I had, you know, a job where I had to ask permission and get approval to take time off. And I don't have to do that anymore. And I still see parts where it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. What about, you know, your clients? What about your business? And that's just bullshit made up in my head. There's nobody, you know, that's the old nothing wrong with you story. There's, you know, a thought that's judging what I'm doing is wrong. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So the other book study we're doing, which we're deep into as well, is the There Is Nothing Wrong With You, Going Beyond Self-Hate by Sherry Huber. So I also offer that book. I can send you the PDF, the recording, send me a message. Thank you, Ginger, Wendy, Marita. Oh yeah, and so I have all my live streams, or a lot of them, most of them, in a playlist on my YouTube channel, and also for these book readings, this one and the Nothing Wrong With You, I have separate playlists. So if you want to go back and hear the whole, you know, book study sessions, you can do that. And I do my best to have those up, the replays up within 48 hours, with a vision that I'll be in a place with super fast Wi-Fi and can double live stream again. I think I could here, but honestly, I'm afraid to try, because I don't know. I know some of y'all probably remember, yeah, like I double live stream and the internet couldn't handle it, and so it just, like, the live had to end because the internet was so shitty, because I was taking up too much bandwidth. So after that, I thought I would rather err on the side of caution and just do the live and then put the recording up. So yeah, Jamie, you're welcome. Awesome. Yeah, so I'm gonna plan that today. And I just was in Sri Lanka in January. So this new year is April 13th, so I'll probably go the 11th or 12th for like 5 days. And and I'm bringing a special friend back to Bali with me. It's their first time in Bali, so y'all know that I love sharing my Bali and sharing Bali. So that's going to be super fun and exciting as well. So you're welcome, Amy. Yeah, Sri Lanka is awesome. People say it's similar to Bali. I mean, I get that, but also not. And it's also Buddhist, which is interesting. Even like the Buddhas in Sri Lanka, they don't look like the Buddhas in Thailand. Like the artwork of them is a little bit different. I'm only going to be in Sri Lanka like 5 days. I may do I'm going to be there over the weekend. I don't know what the schedule's going to be because, you know, we might be going around, and I don't know what this New Year thing is going to be. So, so yeah, but I'm only there a couple days, so. Yes, but it is over the weekend, and I always do my best to do my Saturday Night Live wherever I am. So, that is that, and you can follow my adventures. Last night I was driving my motorbike in town here to go to this, what's it called? Contact dance. Has anyone ever done contact dance? I've not really officially done it actually. But anyway, I was on my way there. You know, they had stopped traffic, the police were out. Of course, it was for a ceremony, which is one of my favorite things about Bali. They're so in integrity with their spirituality and their religion, they don't let anything stop them from doing all their ceremonies, of which there are many, many, many. So yeah, so traffic was stopped, and sure enough, down the main street, here comes, you know, Balinese people, all dressed up, singing, playing instruments, having decorations, and yeah, so I captured a bit of it as I was sitting on my bike, and then traffic started moving, so I had to hurry up and put the camera away. But I just love Bali for that, you know. So, and also it's a very human place too. Like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows here. And also there's, just like the earth, you know, it's got amazing places and places that, you know, whatever, are not all sunshine and rainbows. So, I will see you all very soon. Stay tuned for me to reschedule the live, my anniversary live. So I have to cancel, the way they do it in Insight, you can't change a time, you have to just cancel the whole thing and then make the whole event again. So that's what I will do. If you follow me, you'll see that. So make sure you RSVP and come to, yeah, my little anniversary party live. I'm so grateful. I mean, aside from me getting clean and sober, like, me leaving the US is like the second best decision I've ever made for my own self. And I've never regretted it. I'm so glad, you know, and even in my coaching call this morning, we talked about when you're on your deathbed, what do you not want to have left this planet not having done? Like, I would have definitely regretted, you know, not taking action, staying in my marriage, staying in a part of the world that just is not me. Yeah, so I'm so grateful. Marita, just come as you are. My dress code will be this is my business attire when I'm in tropical climates, which I always usually am because it's hot. So I have my little tank top and my little scarves wardrobe. So I assume I will be in that. Thanks. Okay. Loving you all. Be blessed and namaste.